Let's roll. It picks up real well.
Okay. Yes, they do. Hi, we're still going. This is Harry Carey coming to you live from Canton, North Carolina.
Alright, now it's recorded.
So we're double dipping here.
If you fit me, that'd be great. If not. Okay, I guess just to start, when someone says the name Doyle Lawson, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Quality, dedication, incredible musicianship.
How did you first come across them? I mean, personally, or was it music? What was the first time you heard of
Okay, first time I heard of Doyle, when I was a kid, I would get to travel up to Lexington to hear J.D. Crowe. And we would go hear Crowe in a little bar called Martin's, and then went up there 2 or 3 times, and J.D. would let me hang in the kitchen and play a song with him, so that I was only like 14 or 15. So he'd let me hang in the kitchen so that I could stay in the place. That was illegal if I didn't. And so J.D. would let me play a little bit. And then one of the last times I was ever up there, this guy Doyle had started playing the mandolin. And he was by far the best one that J.D. had. And then the next time I would have seen, but I didn't really. I don't know if I met him that night. And then the next, and I'm not really sure when we did meet, other than, well, we met when I went up to Lexington. Now J.D. was playing over at where he played for years at the Holiday Inn at the Red Slipper Lounge, and so now the band was Red Allen and Doyle on mandolin and J.D. and Bobby Sloan. So that was the first thing where I knew of Doyle as like a force on the mandolin, because when you, as a mandolin player, when you're standing up there and playing with JD, there's a certain amount of drive, but timing is the ultimate, has to be there. Timing has to be there, and Doyle had excellent timing. And so then at that one I couldn't go in, so I would literally stand on the other side of the swinging bar doors and watch them all night. Stand there, 16 years old, and watch them.
What was some of the things you first noticed when you watched them play?
I think the first thing was timing, and the fact that he didn't just try to play like Bill Monroe. He wasn't really copying anyone that I could see, but once again, his timing was great, and great. The tenor singing was excellent with Red Allen. He sang some lead, and then. So then now Doyle has gone back with Jimmy Martin. Now Cuddy goes with Jimmy Martin, and my good friend Alan Mundy's on banjo. So I think Alan was living with Doyle and his wife, and so we would come down to Nashville from Bowling Green and visit Alan, and got to go to Doyle's house then. Then the next thing Doyle's back with J.D. Crowe with Larry Rice on mandolin and Doyle on guitar. And I know that, the common perception is that J.D.'s greatest band was the New South band with, Ricky and Tony, which is undoubtedly marvelous and the one people want to copy. But for me, the timing of the band with Larry Rice on mandolin and Doyle on guitar, that was my favorite J.D. Crowe band, because Doyle's rhythm is so good. He made a bed of rhythm for that band to play on, and so that and I haven't heard him do it, but Alan Mundy tells me, he goes, well, yeah, and he can do the Jimmy Martin banjo anytime you need it. And if you can satisfy Jimmy Martin on the banjo, you have drive. You have drive, and you certainly know how to do proper Scruggs. So Doyle, I haven't heard him play Alan, but when Alan Mundy says that guy's a great banjo player, if he wants to be, then I'll take his word for it, for sure.
Have you played with him on stage or collaborated with him at all?
Doyle?
Yeah.
Well, not actually. I don't. I mean, we've been in a jam or two on stage, but when I'm trying to think what year it was. I'm blanking on the name of the Quicks. At any rate, Doyle hired Jerry Douglas and me to augment, to play extra musicians on a Quicksilver album.
Yeah.
and it was still Jimmy Haley and Lou Reed, so it was the original guys, and Balk. But I'm trying to think. I just know that one of the songs was Yellow River.
Yeah.
And that way it was very. And that day in the studio, I just remember we were playing something in the key of B, and at the end, Doyle took the mandolin solo, and at the end of it, he did a little riff that it was one of those things. As soon as the take got done, I went up to him. I said, "Okay, can you teach me that lick? Please teach me that. Show me that lick." And Doyle's got a bunch of those kind of things. But so, if anything, that was I was actually going through. It was actually good for me at that time. Our band Bluegrass Revival was in a state of, pardon the pun, flux. Was in a state of disarray, and that Courtney and Curtis had quit, and John Count and I were just playing with Leon Russell, waiting to sort of restart. And so it was just great to walk in where there was this solid band, Quicksilver, and I got to play fiddle with them. And I was kind of having doubts about my fiddle playing. I don't know. I was going through a phase of not liking the way I played, and Doyle just kind of encouraged me to, come on, step it up here. And so it was good for me to be around him. That's been the time I did get to record with him. And if anything, I think I was timid to go up and play a couple of phrases that Doyle wanted to hear, and he just kept on me till I got them, and I'm glad he did.
Well, what about technique? What do you notice as a mandolin player yourself when you watch him up there?
Well, it's how, it's just a very smooth right hand, very fluid right hand, and that's that timing. It's natural, and whether he's on guitar or mandolin, the timing is great.
What about your friendship? What does that mean to you? All these decades that you've been running around in the same circles?
Well, Doyle, I'm in the fortunate position that I'm not. If he was sitting here, I would say this. I just like it when Doyle's here because I ain't the oldest guy in the room. No. But I am in a fortunate position that, the other day I got to go to JD's 80th birthday party.
Wow.
And
that must have been
I don't even know how old Doyle is.
He's going to be 75. Well, he's 73 now.
I assumed around 8 to 10 older than me. And
He'll be 74 in the winter. The whole point with the book is we're going to launch it for his 75th birthday. That's the hope.
Well, he's that. But when I think of Doyle as a mandolin player, it's that he doesn't play like the others, and he's not content to just play like Bill Monroe. And he's from the country, after the country gentleman, he's obviously always made his own way and was able to do that. And if anything, it was pretty smart of him to join the gentleman, and when he really could have started Quicksilver then, probably.
Well, that's interesting too, is that both of you guys came up in these really successful groups, but then found other success as solo artists too.
Well, and
or longevity, I guess.
And and when you look at Doyle's band, it's obvious, he can help shape young musicians, and he's a great teacher of young musicians as well, and not just the playing, but the discipline of how you play on stage and how you present the show, and a professionalism that Doyle makes them adhere to. So he's a good band, obviously a good band leader. That's all going well.
What does his impact on bluegrass mean to you, or how would you describe his impact, I guess?
I think the main impact is the positive statement of people being able to see him and his band all these years, and when he's coming to town, that a quality show's coming, and he's probably gonna not play the same thing he did a couple of years ago.